Hello, everybody. It's nice to see you all here, both online and on-site. Thanks to all participants for joining. And I am Agnes Ikora from Latvijas Tehnoloģiskais Centrs, and I will represent also not only Center, but our StarRise project. That's why we are here and discussing about mushroom and mycelium. And also, we are founder of newborn microcluster that we will talk about later. And why we are here, and today we will discuss only about mushrooms and mycelium. Why? Maybe because the global market mycelium shows that it is growing very fast, and it's because of very high demand from society, because everybody wants to be sustainable, everyone to have natural and eco products, and we are not just talking about food, we are talking about multiple sectors, and it is also now very fashion in construction industry, using mycelium products, and also, of course, in fashion and textile industry, in biotechnology, and what I did mention, packaging, of course, is the most well known. Next slide, please. Oh, where is my list? Sorry. Can you give me? So why we are here? The main reason is because Latvijas Tehnoloģiskais Centrs is coordinating the project StarRise that is devoted to agriculture and logistics. And I will not get deep very in this project, but now in this slide you can see what countries and partners are involved and the main results, and you see that there are 7 value chains. What does it mean? This project is mainly, to say something simple, it's everything about interregional cooperation, about interregional project identification, about challenges, about new value chain creation. And believe me or not, but the first of the value chains that we identified during the project was this fungi and mycelium value chain. And what does it mean? It doesn't mean not just product production, it also means science, it means society and government as well. So this is also one of the project results, and we are also developing this sector. And as I mentioned before, we already developed a few months ago a new platform, the Mycelium EU, that is like microcluster in European level. And what we want to gain, we want to gather all these players, so-called. That means, as I mentioned before, SMEs, researchers, society, government, individuals who like mushrooms and mycelium, and they are very founded. I think Manuel is also one, not just our project partner and our good friend of us, but he's also an individual who really is passionate about this topic, and he will, I think, tell you about this later. So, okay, let's finish about me. And now I will shortly introduce the participants of discussion, and afterward you can also tell your story, why you're here, and what you want to tell about mushrooms. So our online participant is Manuel Zephyr. I hope I pronounced correctly your surname. He presents a consultancy company, Improve Academy, from Germany, and they mainly offer innovation management support services. As I told you, he's our project partner, and he's also MICA cluster co-organizer and participant. And he's very excited about this topic. And our second participant is Rihards Gravis. He's manager of his company, Spora Lab. And so her company that grows mushrooms, produces products, innovates, and also is involved in research processes as well, so far as I know. And finally, Linda Mejor. She's Director of Water Systems and Biotechnology Institute from Riga Technical University. She's a leading researcher, right? They have been engaged in research specialty related to mushrooms for many years, including enzyme productions, hydrolysis, innovative materials. And they also have been experienced with pollution caused by mushroom research. Now the word and floor goes to Manu from Germany. He has prepared a small presentation as no consultant, you know. Are you with us? Small timeout. If you're speaking, Manu, we don't hear.
Okay. Okay, because I was speaking and I'm able to hear you all the way, so apologies for not being there in Riga. Thanks a lot for having me as part of this panel, and due to traffic I didn't even make it to the office in time, so I'm super sorry not have to do this on the road. Happy to get started with the presentation. I'm not sure if there's anything that should change for me as the video picture, or if you say we are ready, I'm happy to get started. Just let me know once you have the slides in front of you.
So we see your presentation, you can start and...
Excellent. Well then, thanks again for the introduction and for the quick overview to my personal background that you prepared. Why am I talking to you about mushrooms and mycelium, as I have to admit? It originates from the Sunrise project where the Latvijas Tehnoloģiskais Centrs and our company and some others are delivering a project with the European Commission. But the pure aspect of fascination for mushrooms and mycelium goes back a couple of years already, where I started to pop into vegan lifestyle to friend circles, and started thinking about what possibilities are there to create business on a vegan basis. Now, I know that the panel here consists of experts, and me doing this as a side interest, and potentially sometimes as a consultant in my position here to improve, is for sure not a researcher's position, but I took the liberty to try to collect a couple of aspects that might inspire one or the other in the room, and where I want to start the discussion. Now, what you can see in the next slide is just some numbers and a bit of market insights on mushroom and mycelium for those who might not be too familiar with this market. What we see worldwide is that the mushroom production, if you want, or the cultivation of mushrooms is heavily dominated by China, just as a grower, producer, and export nation. But then there's also these small and medium-sized businesses, startups even, that are tapping into this ecosystem and this industry and are producing and cultivating mushrooms. And more, and that's also why I like both, it's not only the mushroom, but it's also mycelium. As I've listed here on the top and right, you see that there are a couple of use cases where mushrooms are used for. Not surprisingly, it's food and supplements in the first place, but then also we can talk about pharma, biotech. We see mushrooms being transformed into powders, extracts, and there are even organic lines if you talk, for example, about cosmetics and other spa or luxury items. Now this is all the mushroom, this is all the grown part that we see and collect. And then we have the whole layer of mycelium underneath, where mycelium is more often used in packaging or building aspects, and then even in fashion accessories and as the leather alternatives. Now you see two different parts of industries being fed by one and the same organism, basically. So it's a maximum possibility to benefit what is there, what is growing organically, and what we could turn into valuable business models for more than just revenue purposes. But talking about revenue, and even if I like the sustainability aspect and the vegan aspect of this, one of the three core pillars of sustainability is also the economic sustainability, and therefore I shared with you here on the slide the calculated economic average growth rates, both for the mushroom industry and the mycelium industry. And you can see that about 10% bigger in the mushroom food market is then almost matched by about 8% bigger in the mycelium market. But for the mushrooms, we're only looking at the food industry and not all the other parts that I mentioned beforehand, like pharma, biotech, and so on. So it's only one of the parts that options can be used for. Nevertheless, you see the numbers. It's expected to grow heavily. So with a 10% growth rate per year, aiming to get close to $66 billion revenue only for the food aspect of mushrooms in 2044. In the meantime, the overall mycelium is expected to grow to about $7.5 billion in the same time. But if we then narrow down and look at mycelium in a bit more detail, we see that there is an estimation of 45, let's be honest, up to 45% of one annual growth rate for the mycelium leather in that time period, already identifying a bit on where the most potential is expected to be delivered or gained in the mycelium mushroom market. This is a very specific niche case, and to be honest, and as mentioned that in the beginning, this is also where I got hooked to the whole aspect of mushroom and mycelium, to find these alternatives and to potentially discuss business models in this industry. Now, in order to not bore you too much, I've got one more slide that I want to share with you, and it's going to go a bit beyond what we currently have. And while the last slide showed you more the status quo and then some calculated vision, I want to use this slide here maybe as inspiration for a discussion later on, before obviously I'm also very keen on listening to the panelists first. But this is something where we could envision mushrooms and mycelium to play a role in the future. So if you want to be with me, and I myself am neither doctor nor an academic, but there are psychedelic possibilities for mushrooms to be used. There is then the nutraceuticals options for mushrooms to also be explored in the future, medicine, agri-inputs, and even, and that makes it maybe interesting from a sustainability perspective again, the waste upcycling possibility using mushrooms. So just to give you these 5 as potential start for a discussion, for some visionary thought exchange, maybe down the road you can imagine some more use cases. And last but not least, turning our heads to mycelium once more. As you realized in the first slide, in the split of the industries, mycelium is more used in the packaging and construction business. So we talk about here some net zero construction possibilities. If we use that, for example, as a material replacing currently very much plastic or oil-based fibers. We talk about potential to have biopackaging on mass market scale. Even smart textiles or engineered foods might be a topic that mycelium is talking about in the future. And then environmental service, to what degree soever, is also one of the 5 top visions that are currently associated with mycelium. And with these hopefully inspirational aspects, I'm very keen to give back to the panelists, back to you, Agnes, and hope that these couple of minutes input are visionary enough for you to start thinking about the possibilities that mushrooms and mycelium hold for all of us in the near future. Thanks.
Thank you, Manuel, about this focused market analysis I expected from you. And now maybe we can get further to our other participants. Richard, can you please tell us who you are and what is your company doing and what is producing, what is researching and what are your plans?
Hello. So, Richard from Spore Lab. We are a functional mushroom company. We call ourselves like that because we don't look at a specific feature or function of the mushrooms, but what we do is look at the fungi life cycle in general and how we as humans can gather the good parts from each of these steps of the life of a mushroom. So what we do is grow organic certified mushrooms right here in Latvia. We prepare mushroom extracts from them. We mostly grow medicinal mushrooms currently, and our extracts are also organic certified. And what we do is research each mushroom, specifically look at its physical properties, at its bioactive compounds, and create a specific extraction methods for each mushroom species. And then we create these extracts. What we also provide is digital traceability for each extract we produce, so the end customer receives the extract together with a mushroom passport, where you can see the exact mushroom which was used in the extract, ingredients used in the production, and other various data. And in this process we are left with a lot of bio waste in the shape of mushroom substrates, which we could of course compost, but one of our goals of our company is to become waste zero company, so we don't want to throw everything away. And currently we are starting to experiment also with the mycelium materials, where we freshen up these used substrates a little bit and give it to another specific mushroom, which still can find ways to grow in these spent mushroom substrates, and as a result we get mycelium material which functions and uses we are still exploring. Currently we are working with mycelium materials as packaging, and that's in short what we do.
I know that so far that you're working with one specific mushroom type. How did you came to that? How you did a lot of research, I think, maybe together with Linda or some research institute, or you did it by yourself? How came with that?
Yeah, so it's a personal story why we chose exactly this mushroom. I'm a developer, so I was researching ways how to help my cognitive functionality and found mushrooms. I'm not a mycologist, so my background before this company was very limited to mushrooms. But we found this mushroom lion's mane and started to use the supplements ourselves. But step by step, we understood that we want to do it ourselves. And the whole research how to do the extracts is self-led, basically. What we do is we do test our extracts in independent laboratories, just to be sure that our assumptions are correct. And that's.
And where customer can buy your products? Is it in some specific shops, or it's just in your office or laboratory? Or
we do have our own internet shop, so that's the place. But we are moving in fast steps and are in the progress of opening a much larger production facility, so the products will become more available also.
How many products are in market right now?
Currently one. It's the mushroom extract, but we are also working with B2B clients and provide mushroom extracts for them with different mushrooms also. But it's not not in B2C market yet.
And why mushrooms?
Because they are awesome.
Okay, thank you. Now floor goes to Linda. Tell about yourself and about your institute.
Okay.
And why are you passionate about mushrooms? Why?
Well, first of all, I have to say that I mostly recall those as fungi because it's mushrooms is only one group, and so we've been working with other types, including yeast and including molds. So that's just to begin. So I come from Riga Technical University, from Water Systems and Biotechnology Institute. So generally from my background, so I'm a microbiologist, and I started my research already quite a long time ago, but that was mostly related with fecal bacteria in drinking water and in biofilms, so completely different topic. But then something, I was just during the other introductions counting how many years I worked with fungi, and I ended up to something 12 plus. So at that time, we started to receive some interest and projects that were related to not so much of water systems, but also the management of waste. And so somehow it ended up that we started to look what to do with the biomass waste, so lignocellulosic biomass. And one of the interests and still ongoing research is related to how we can degrade the biomass, including also food waste, that is very topical. And if you look in nature, so there are certain organisms that are quite well able to do that. And so those are fungi or mushrooms, if you put that. So our interest ended up in white rot fungi, the ones that are very effective in grazing biomass, or let's say growing on the woody material. So it's very interesting to hear all these nice things and products that is possible to make for everyday life. And something has already been tested also in our labs, starting from materials also, of course, and maybe some interesting things we can make out of mushrooms or fungi. But our interest is mostly in production of enzymes. So one of the key biomolecules that is extracted when the fungus grows. And so how to force them to make the correct enzymes, or let's say ask or make the conditions more favorable, and how to extract these enzymes. So what we do is we use mushrooms, fungi, let's say, growing in the forests. We have also our small collection. And then we apply various substrates and afterwards extract certain enzymes and then apply those, for example, for degradation of waste. So that would be the, let's say, the core work of our group. So as you understood, I'm not representing business world, but we had some couple of crazy ideas about making mushroom materials. So most of the time it ended up that you need to be very cautious how you make the growth conditions, and also it's a nice thing of making a packaging material. You can have some, let's say, unevenness, or maybe the material is not excellent in terms of the physical properties, but if you want to go in something more sophisticated, let's say some isolation materials or even construction materials, you have to be very careful how you grow the fungus. And then it becomes complicated. So just to get the correct growth characteristics, that's, I think, it's one of the challenges still faced. And I hope that maybe a lot of these enthusiastic companies sometimes will maybe manage to get also to the let's say, out of consumer-based products to business-based products. So that would be very nice.
That maybe could be my next question. When we say something, we have, for example, leisure from natural leisure, from mushroom, whatever. It costs a lot. And the question could be, do you think the products made from mycelium are competitive in the market? Or is it too expensive for average buyer? And is this quality suited to the price? What is your opinion, maybe from researchers' side? How deep is research made on this material, for example, in fashion? As we know, there are a lot of products in fashion.
Yeah, I actually had, I think, 2 bags made of mushroom leather, but I think it's mostly the trendy part, because if we look from the production perspective, it should be easier and faster than growing an animal, killing an animal and making leather. So it's just because of the style and not so much of the companies that are doing that. So maybe in a couple of years it should become way much cheaper. Of course, if you don't know the technology, you face a lot of problems, and a lot of new companies start very enthusiastically and then they get their first mold infection and then they finish. Sorry to say that, maybe you have different experience, but I have talked to a couple of spin-off companies very eager in making mushroom materials, and then the question is, okay, this is not my mushroom I want to grow, it's something else, and then you can't make a leather.
Yeah, I totally agree. Like the research phase makes the products expensive, but once we are over it, the production costs should be and are pretty low, as the main ingredient in these materials can be bio-waste from other companies or your own. But yeah, I agree that this research stage in the companies is expensive, and since there are not a lot of examples of success stories and the shared knowledge about how to do these materials correctly is not shared enough, at least currently, this makes the product more expensive. Yeah.
Manuel, have you some comment on that? If you don't,
Yeah,
I have...
happy to comment. And glad to also hear your experience with those companies, and that most of them, for example, fail through mold infection. What we see in the market that might be one of the is that even though there are two bigger companies already, or have been bigger companies in the US, where startups collected significant amounts of funding even from prominent investors, it seems that the market readiness for these products is still at the very beginning. So even with bigger amounts of funding, the companies so far are not successful in establishing those products as a permanent alternative, which I personally can't understand because I'm also a big fan and was looking for a laptop like myself when I started to get into this. So maybe that as a question for panelists, if I may, what would be your opinion? What is needed in order to make this a bigger industry? That would be something that I would be super keen on discussing, but maybe please don't feel interrupted. I will take over here. I think my opinion has been interrupted already. Back to you.
It's a pity I almost didn't hear anything, but I hope that in a record it's people can hear, because here is in the exhibition it's a bit soundy. But thank you, Manuel, for a comment. And now I have a question from the audience. What is the most innovative thing about mushrooms at the moment? Maybe what is the craziest thing you have seen, that is maybe craziest product you have seen made from mycelium or mushroom?
Yeah, so mycelium material is a material, so in theory you can make almost any 3D object with them. So I guess the craziest ideas are the objects themselves, not the material. So there are companies that are growing like mushroom coffins, for example. So that makes a lot of sense, but it's still a crazy idea. Yeah.
Maybe not so much of the products, but looking at the research papers. So what we see is, of course, the use of these spent substrates, for example, from the companies that work. That's actually what I'm been, let's say, reviewing for quite a long of time in the research papers, and seeing that it's. And since I come from also water sector or water research, so what we see is actually you can start to make filter material from fungi. But generally the product, as long as you find the correct fungus and it produces a certain chemical, so you can go beyond imagination.
Then it's a question to you, Linda. Can we drink mushrooms?
Drink?
Yeah, it's a question.
Well, you can still find fungi in drinking water, in certain, of course not in high concentrations, because water is not their natural environment, or let's say common place. Still not a problem, since we haven't discovered that part, that some water-living fungi is causing some illness. Then always remember about kombucha. It's a big industry. So, and there are
a lot of producers here also.
Yes. So in that terms, yes. Maybe not all, but I don't know about the magic ones, so you need to be careful.
That's another exhibition. Okay, there's a question, both of you. Do you participate in mushroom picking championships in Latvia? You know, for others, Latvians are crazy about those picking up mushrooms. I know that all September weekends are busy and all are going to woods. How about you guys?
Hello, okay. I would be interested, but I have to be honest. The last time I went, I got so it was so I got fully covered with insects. We went, yeah, that was a crazy thing, and I've worked with fungi for a long time, but I still have problems in picking the correct ones. And in my basket, it's always something not nice. And I still use the help of my grandmother, and then she just picks half of them, just goes out. So I'm not the best mushroom picker.
Yeah, I would say I'm an average mushroom picker in Latvia. I know my 5 mushrooms, which I can take with myself and do that, in autumns, but definitely not champion.
Your laboratory pickers, okay.
Yeah, I have my own
Okay.
at home.
Sorry, that's a question from the audience. Now another maybe serious one. What mushrooms are not suitable for industrial growing? Do you know?
Just from our experience for industrial growing, like in the context of materials, there are myceliums that are more soft, more hard, and some of the mushrooms which we like to eat, their mycelium is not suited for materials.
Yes, for materials, I totally agree. So you just pick what you want. You want a fluffy or fast-growing one, or maybe not so much growing but better consuming the substrate, because it also differs. From the other point of use or practical thing, just always try to be very careful about the spore formers. So those ones who tend to make a lot of spores. So, okay, it's not maybe the material part, but let's say you can get it quite well polluted in the area, or it's also dangerous for people walking. So there's, let's say, certain species that are very nice in biotechnology, but they might be, let's say, you need to take cautious in how you grow them.
And there's another one. What mushrooms are used in medicine?
There are a lot of them. We are experienced more with lion's mane mushroom, Pericium vernaceius. That is one we know the most about. There are other ones which I just can name, but not an expert in them, like reishi or chaga or turkey tail. There are lots of them. Each with their own functionalities. Some of them you can use more easily. Some of them you need to be a lot more cautious. How often and how do you use them? So that's a wide world, I would say.
And there's I don't know, question or comment. Mushrooms are only for vegans. Why should I eat them? It's not just for vegans only. I think everybody can eat it. But that it substitute meat, it is well known, in society.
Yeah, for sure. There are also the same lion's mane mushroom, which we grow as a medicinal mushroom. It is a very well-known also a gourmet mushroom, which has meaty properties, so it can be prepared and can also fool people to think it's, let's say, chicken meat.
Okay, as we don't have any other answers from our audience, maybe some final conclusions from both of you, and maybe what about this microcluster that we established 2 months ago? I know that you have joined, and perhaps you will join someday. And what could be your expectations? What could we do together? What do you want to get from us as those who are developing it?
I think that we are scratching only the surface, what we can do with mushrooms. And exactly, that's the reason why, and the key word would be together. So we need to come all together, put our heads with knowledge or business thinking or just crazy idea thinkers and do stuff together. Yeah. And that's the whole reason why we joined.
Yeah, I think it would be also very interesting from the perspective of information exchange, because what I see is actually that everyone is very keen in working their own labs or factories and struggling with the same problem. Of course, if you have your magic, or I would say not magic in that case, but very well working fungus or mushroom, you don't want to share because otherwise someone else will take over. But I think in Latvia we need to at least to some extent start to more discuss, so that not so many people are just struggling with the same problem. And then of course the fittest always survives, but still I think it's a good option to try to discuss and maybe sometimes to help each other and so on.
To have common projects as well.
Yes.
Right, Manuel? Maybe some final comment from your side, and then you can go with your car.
I hope you can hear me, and thanks a lot for the option. I fully agree with what I heard. Yeah? So to be crazy about possibilities and to collaborate and exchange, not necessarily always revealing all the trade secrets, but to form a group of enthusiasts and maybe even visionary minds, something that I do hope for as part of the microcluster. And then moving forward to make this a bigger possibility, a sustainable possibility for so many industries, while still keeping in mind that this is a business for the companies after all, and hoping to create a market that is growing similar to the numbers that are currently forecasted. Thanks a lot for having me today.
Okay, thank you all participants, and see you in Microcluster EU events, and let's develop ideas together. Thank you all. See you.